what if Boromir had taken the ring from Frodo?
Ooh, this is a big. We get asked this one a lot.
Yeah, a lot. So this is one of those ones that it's like a key moment.
Yeah.
In the Lord of the Rings story, you've got a man, and obviously the end of the Third Age is heading towards the Age of Men.
Yes.
Okay, this is what we're heading towards. Now, this is that entire turning point because it's demonstrating the corruption of men and how easily they are corrupted.
Yes.
But not only does Boromir try to take the ring from Frodo and Frodo escapes, but we later see that Aragorn doesn't have to necessarily... You look at the scene from the movie, right? Aragorn willingly lets Frodo go.
Yes, he does the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And as well, another thing with the influence of the ring. In the movies, it's slightly different. Like there's that scene on Caradhras where he picks up the ring and he actually has it basically in his hand.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the books. So the influence of the ring just being near him is a lot more of a thing in the actual story, whereas obviously, like, 'cause he never sees it really himself. That's one of the things he wants. He wants to see it. He wants to actually have it in his hands, which he hadn't done before.
True. But going back to the movie, I really like the kind of moment where you see, okay, yes, men are easily corruptible, but it's not everyone. You know, like there is still good in men. There's still strong will in men.
There is still good in this world, Mr. Frodo.
Exactly. But let's say Frodo wasn't able to escape and Boromir had taken Frodo down.
Yes.
I'm not sure he would have killed him.
I think if the ring had influenced him enough, if Frodo put up enough of a fight, he would have. The same way that Smeagol kills Deagol. Like they're like best buds out for his birthday, and he kills him.
That's true.
So there's no reason Boromir wouldn't if Frodo wasn't going to willingly give it up to him.
If the ring told him to.
Yes.
Now, okay, so that's just the starting point for our scenario. So Boromir has decided to try and take the ring from Frodo. Frodo has resisted. Boromir, whether intentionally, on purpose or not, has murdered Frodo. He's taken the ring from him. Where do we go from there?
Well, okay, at this point, does Boromir... does he, A, go back to the Fellowship and be like, oh no, Frodo died. He slipped and fell on the rock. Or does he run away? I think he would run away. I don't think he could go back and face like Aragorn or anything if he took the ring.
No,
I think at that point it would be heading for the hills.
Yes.
And back to Gondor would be my first bet. Because you know that's what he wants. He wants it as a weapon to use against Sauron. He wants to take it back home. Don't really know what he intends to do with it as a weapon. No. But that's.
But let's look at the sort of, I don't know if butterfly effect is the right term here, but let's look at the consequences of Boromir doing that. So one, Frodo is dead.
Yes.
Now, in terms of Merry and Pippin, which is obviously when Boromir doesn't take the ring, he plays a heavy part on that and ends up being killed, trying to protect them. Now, the Uruk-hai's job was just to take the halflings. So that doesn't necessarily affect what happens to Merry and Pippin. They still get taken away.
And probably Sam as well.
Yeah, possibly Sam too. Yeah.
I imagine if Frodo's gone, they're more likely to be together.
Yeah.
Because Sam might potentially go to the river, realise Frodo hasn't gone anywhere, go back and then end up in the same circle.
Yeah, so Merry, Pippin and Sam, all captured by the Uruk-hai party.
Yes.
Now the three hunters, you can assume straight away that Aragorn with his hunting abilities and his kind of, he's almost got like a sixth sense.
Yeah.
You know, like I reckon if he found Frodo's body, he would know what happened.
Yes.
Not by an Uruk-hai blade as this hobbit fallen.
Yes, you would be able to tell there was a scuffle, there was a fight or lack of fight, and he would know. But the fact Boromir never returns is a big thing. So
yeah, and there's no Boromir body. So what has happened here is pretty obvious, and Aragorn would know that Boromir isn't fallen to a handful of Uruk-hai. You know, so the three hunters have a decision to make. Do they go after the three hobbits, Merry, Pippin and Sam, or do they go after Boromir and try and take the ring back?
Ooh, that is a really tough situation. I think they would go after Boromir.
See, my thought on the matter is they're going to know that Boromir's intentions aren't evil. They are corrupted to take the ring, but his intentions truly is to protect Gondor and use it as a weapon against Sauron. Whether the consequences of that are bad and eventually Sauron has an easier route to the ring, that may be the case, but that's not in Boromir's mind, and it's not an instant.
No, but the issue would be is he's taken the ring so close to Sauron at this point.
Yeah.
Like but not through a secret way to the front door.
No, I agree, but I don't think Boromir would be using it to attack Sauron. It's used as a measure of defense, and maybe even as a bargaining chip. Maybe that's what we don't know exactly what he's thinking, but that's what
he just wants to save his people. So.
Yeah, I would personally think that they would still go after the hobbits first.
Nah, I could see both ways. I mean, yeah, let's say hobbits. They go after the hobbits.
If they don't go after the hobbits, we don't meet Gandalf.
No, but Gandalf is still there. That doesn't change anything with Gandalf. So Gandalf still saves the hobbits.
True.
In a way.
Okay. Let's say they leave the hobbits. They don't go with the hobbits.
Okay.
Let's just take this an alternate route because it is a what if scenario. It has to be different.
I mean, we're kind of we're making it up as we go. That's the fun of it.
This is just a live discussion, so you know.
I mean, as well as we're going through this, if there's like a point like now, like the time code, put that in the comments and be like, here, I think they would have gone this way instead of that.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think as we're making decisions. Tell us how wrong we are, because that likes to happen.
This is technically one of those, those books you used to get where it's like a play through your own story or read through your own story. Like you can take this path or this path. We're taking the path where the three hunters have gone after Boromir.
Yes.
So what that does to the hobbits is pretty much nothing.
No, it's pretty much the exact same scenario.
Yeah.
They'll end up on the edge of Fangorn.
Eomer's warband will kill the party of Uruks. They'll run into Gandalf.
Yep. And then,
The only difference here is the three hunters and Gandalf do not then go together. Wait, I'm trying to work this out in my head now.
So they wouldn't end up in Edoras.
Yeah.
But I do think for Gandalf, if he got there and realised the three hunters had gone somewhere else and obviously heard from the hobbits what's happened, I think he would then basically get on Shadowfax and hightail it to try and find them.
True. The difficult part here is... Ooh, this is getting tough now, guys.
This is why we always said we would want to put a lot of thought and effort into it.
Yeah. Now, a lot of these scenarios are difficult because obviously when I'm picturing my way through the story now, visually, I cannot help but see the film.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And this is the problem with our main visual memory of Lord of the Rings and representation coming from the Peter Jackson trilogy is, say when I picture the three hunters and Gandalf going to Edoras to free Theoden from Saruman's control, I picture the three hunters taking out all the Rohan soldiers in the background as Gandalf walks forward. Now, we don't necessarily know that it happened exactly like that.
Yeah.
Now, would Gandalf have been able to free Theoden without the three hunters there? You know
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
He would have been able to, but obviously he would prefer to do it in the way that doesn't reveal as much power for him.
Yeah.
He wants to do it as secretly and quietly as possible.
Yeah. But you're saying you think Gandalf would go to find the three hunters before even going to Edoras?
Yeah. So I think the scenario might end up the same. They end up in Edoras as that fall.
Okay.
But I think he would go
maybe further down the line.
Yeah, but there would be a detour first.
Yeah.
So
the issue now is if we delay the freeing of Theoden, what happens to the Rohan? Does it fall? Because they might not necessarily know about 10,000 Uruks.
No, I think it would. I don't think they'd be able to do anything in time, set up a defence. So basically their defence ends up in Edoras as opposed to Helm's Deep.
Yep.
Or they don't even have a defence. And Saruman basically, it's like Gandalf almost goes, okay, Boromir in the ring, save Rohan. Kind of got to go towards the ring, sacrifice Rohan, and Gondor's where we make our last stand.
If Sauron gets the ring, the whole of Middle Earth is doomed, not just Rohan. So he takes that hit by Rohan. I mean, they don't even have their king, their commander, to line up their defence and organise the defending of the kingdom. So, Rohan falls in this scenario.
It does.
Gandalf goes to Minas Tirith to try and talk some sense into Boromir.
On a little side point here, if Theoden doesn't get freed, at any point does like Eomer or Erkenbrand, do they take Rohirrim away? Rather than like go down with their king, does potentially do they take a good chunk of Rohirrim and go to fight bit by bit throughout Rohan, as opposed to setting up and just dying? Because obviously one of the biggest things is the reinforcements of Rohan that comes later to Minas Tirith. So if Rohan falls, there's no reinforcements, and then that battle goes differently. But I can't see an Eomer Erkenbrand not acting in some form, even if it meant going against the king.
when Theoden's under Saruman's control, Eomer knows that he's not the king he knows.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if he would. At this point he's been pretty much banished.
Yeah.
Almost. So I don't know. And how would he even have had word? Theoden's not sending for his help.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe not Eomer, but I think Erkenbrand, because he's, if I remember, he's based in Helm's Deep. He's like the marshal of, or whatever the term is, the marshal of Helm's Deep at this point. So he has got some forces. So I think there would be some kind of reinforcement still, but a much smaller amount without an almighty king in his last moment.
True.
So
True.
A weakened Rohan, I guess, we still have.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Okay, so Gandalf has found the three hunters. They've all kind of got together. They've confronted Boromir in Minas Tirith.
Yep.
Now, the difficult part here is Denethor is still steward. He's still in charge of Boromir.
Yes.
He also wants the ring to be used as a weapon.
Yes.
Especially now the ring is in close proximity to Denethor. How does that affect him? Does he demand the ring from his son?
I think so, yeah. I mean, obviously we know from Denethor that he's a very strong-willed character. Debatably, one of the strongest-willed characters on the planet at that time. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with the will of Sauron for so long, and although, yes, he was getting corrupted, he wasn't... Like, he was a lot stronger than Boromir in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, he could literally, basically, talk to Saruman through the Palantir, but still, although being influenced, still be him. Whereas someone like Boromir is in close proximity to the ring.
Do you mean Sauron? You said Saruman.
Oh, did I? Whoops, my bad. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought now.
I know what you're saying about him being strong-willed, but I think we're going to get a big clash of egos and dominant characters here, and I do think that Boromir, corrupted as he is, he's already murdered a hobbit.
Yeah.
I think he would kill Denethor.
Yeah. And Faramir would be like, oh no, stop it, Boromir. Oh no, Daddy's dead.
Yeah, that's exactly how Faramir would be. Although Faramir at this point is probably still in Osgiliath with his ranger battalion.
That is true, yeah.
So he wouldn't even know. He just gets a letter from Boromir. Dad's dead. Oh. So...
With some balloons. More time for drinking!
Yep. So at this point...
Poor Denethor.
Yeah.
Poor Faramir.
At this point...
Yeah.
Boromir is the new steward of Gondor.
Yes, and he is now in charge of a defence, which is something he can do, as opposed to Denethor, who just didn't, really.
Yeah. So, the three hunters, Gandalf, arrive to confront the new steward of Gondor, Boromir.
Yes. In this situation, does Aragorn go into the city?
Ooh! Aragorn would not go into the city, I don't
No. That's where it gets... See, this is again where all this, it gets so confusing, because, you've got to remember, Aragorn, he's not willing to step in there until he's king. Obviously, minus the Houses of Healing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
he made an exception for the Houses of Healing.
Outside the gate. Oh, Boromir! Come down!
Let the Lord of the White Lands step forth! Let justice be done upon him!
So he decapitates Boromir. I think... Oh.
You look at how Aragorn made an exception to step into the White City because of the Houses of Healing, because Faramir, Eowyn, Merry needed his help. He's willing to make an exception. I think this is a strong exception.
Yes. He'd probably do it in the same way. He'd probably, basically cloak up, hide who he is, and just go to the point that he needs to go to.
Yeah.
But that would be an interesting moment.
Yeah. So, the Hall of Kings now. He's walking towards the throne. Aragorn, Gandalf, Legolas and Gimli. As Boromir is sat on the steward's chair, slouched with the ring around his neck. What happens?
I don't think they come to an agreement.
I don't think so either. Now, the thing here is Boromir is going to know there's no way he is going to take on those four people. He can't take on Aragorn. He can't take on Gandalf.
I think if Gandalf wasn't there, he would probably
attempt it.
Maybe,
yeah.
But, when... Well, Mithrandir, as they probably know more as, he wouldn't dare.
No, I don't think so. So his only means of escaping this scenario...
Also, at this point, this would be his first, probably knowledge that Gandalf is still alive.
Oh, yes.
So he might have been expecting the three hunters to appear, but without a wizard.
That's very true.
So he would probably be quite shocked at this point to see Gandalf not only back, but he's back white. And that's, that could be a bit ooh, moment. Because there's a good chance as well at this point, Boromir, obviously, he's killed Denethor. There's a good chance he's taken a Palantir at this point. And gone, I can do what my father didn't kind of thing. I can take on Sauron. So there might be some Sauron corruption involved here. And Sauron's almost like keeping an eye on all this. You never know.
Now, what might have happened here is Sauron could come under some kind of agreement with Boromir through false truths and say something along the lines of, Boromir, I will help defend, I will leave Gondor alone. Me and you can rule together.
Yes.
You can even keep the ring.
Yes. You have Gondor.
If you don't oppose me, you can keep the ring.
Yeah.
Obviously, that wouldn't be the case. But Sauron is infamous for
just saying what needs to be said.
And if that needs to be said to get Boromir to bring him the ring voluntarily without war, he's going to do it. Sauron's not just this...
Sauron might also be thinking at this point, he's like, I could have a 10th Wraith here. Of a Boromir standard.
Yeah. True.
So that as a servant,
that
he would be amazing to have.
Now, the only way Boromir is escaping this scenario is by putting on the ring and turning invisible.
Yes.
And the issue with that is, I believe Gandalf can see into the Wraith world.
I think so.
As a Maya, I'm sure he can see into the other side. So, although the three hunters would be dumbfounded and confused as to where Boromir has just gone, I'm not sure it would work on Gandalf.
What could be made now? Okay, bear with me. So, rewind a moment. They've come in. They've gone to confront Boromir. Gandalf stays hooded and disguised in the background. They have the argument. The three hunters are basically at the point where they're going to forcefully take this from Boromir now. Obviously, forcefully taking the ring, whole of the story. But they do this. Boromir puts on the ring. They're all like, no. And then suddenly, Gandalf, I see you, Boromir. And then, maybe he uses his Gandalf magic to, like freeing Theoden, but this time he's to free Boromir from that. He's done something he's given Boromir that, even if it's just a moment of clarity, where Boromir then goes, no, give it up.
They just need to get the ring away from him. You look at it.
That's what I mean. So, because Gandalf's now back as the White, he's more powerful.
Yeah.
He's closer to matching Sauron at this point. Through his abilities, he's been allowed to keep more of his abilities. So
and you see in the Fellowship as well, as soon as Frodo is in, got a bit of distance on Boromir and the ring is further away from him, straight away he's like, what have I done?
Yeah. So I think...
I'm so sorry. So
I think Gandalf was sent back with the ability, not necessarily to go toe-to-toe with Sauron, beat him one-on-one, but enough to relieve people, bring the light, and just give them that moment of going, oh no, I've made a mistake, let's change my mind.
Yeah.
So I think that happens. That is what happens.
So they take the ring from Boromir. There's no way, whether he's using it, whether he puts the ring on or not, that they get him through.
No.
Even if Boromir summons reinforcements and calls his men in, I think they would be willing. They'd be like, oh, Mithrandir, you can see how powerful he is. At this moment when he's in full show, full display, maybe even Aragorn could reveal himself at this moment. Like, you sit down, I'm the rightful king.
Sit on your steward chair, I'm having the throne.
I don't think you'd do that, but I think even if Boromir had called his men in, that would be Aragorn's moment to be like, no, I am your king.
Yeah.
You do what I say. So I think either way, Boromir just tries to fight them single-handedly or tries to escape, or whether he calls reinforcements to try and take on the four hunters. I think either way, this scenario is settled. The ring is removed from Boromir. And I don't think forcefully. I don't think they kill him.
No, I think at this point Boromir is basically back on the good side. Yes. I think that's basically like that shatter moment. It's gone, the veil's gone off him, darkness is away from him. He is back, and now he is actually kind of like Prince Imrahil is at this point, I guess. And so now you've basically got those two leaders of Gondor going to defend Minas Tirith, and Aragorn will wait until after to do what he does.
So now we've got kind of back in a similar position now. We've lost Rohan.
Yeah.
But
I think there's still a small Erkenbrand related force out there.
/ Eomer. So there's still likely to be Rohirrim reinforcements to the Battle of Pelennor Fields. But this time, the defence of Gondor is stronger.
Yes, I think the defence basically it equals out, is what I feel.
Now, Boromir, though probably not in charge anymore, is there, and I'm sure Aragorn and Gandalf would allow him to command forces.
Yes, because I think as well, when they set up the defence, Gandalf would stay there and help with the defence as well. So you basically got Imrahil, Boromir, Gandalf setting up a defence of Minas Tirith.
And Faramir, because him and his battalion are not going to be wasted and sent away.
And then I think the three hunters go off for the Grey Company.
Yes.
At this point. So I think basically...
Or the Army of the Dead. still.
Yeah, the Undead with the Grey Company, and then they come.
Yeah.
Basically, they. I think they then basically go at speed to that.
That still happens.
And then that kind of ends up as it was. They then appear, and I think basically what happens next is the same.
Yeah.
Roughly, obviously, there's probably little differences, but the end outcome is the same. They are successful at the Battle of Pelennor.
Yeah.
They come out victorious, but you've now got a lack of dying Theoden and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, where's Eowyn?
I think she's died with Theoden. I think she would die at Theoden's side.
Yeah.
Because the other thing as well, we got to quickly take a sideways step to is Saruman at this point, because obviously he would actually. I mean, realistically, the March to the End probably still happen. And
I suppose Merry, Pippin, and Sam.
They would still be there. They would have still met Gandalf. They would have still been with Treebeard. I think all that would have been the same.
Yep.
Obviously, the Uruk-hai would have taken out Edoras and stuff. And then I guess they would have returned back to try and save Saruman.
Yeah.
But I think the Ents would be too much.
Yeah.
Because they would still have heavy losses, the Uruk-hai. They wouldn't it's not like none of them would die.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Ents would have been too much.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of ends up the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
the biggest issue we've got now. Yeah. So Rohan's fallen, but the Uruk-hai is still diminished, and Saruman is still in his tower.
Yes.
Gondor is basically strengthened at this point, not weakened, because there'll still be some form of reinforcements from the Rohirrim with Eomer and Erkenbrand. Faramir and Boromir are both together with full strong battalions of rangers and stuff in Minas Tirith, but no one is currently heading towards Mordor to destroy the ring.
No, this is the issue now, is we have a ring in Minas Tirith with no one really, like, I might imagine, like, they, for example, would maybe put it in the tombs kind of thing and lock the doors. It's like, it's there, but we don't go near it. Nobody goes near it, because whoever's near it will be corrupted. So then they're kind of back at square one of going, who will take the ring?
This is the tough one. I think they maybe even send Sam.
I feel like Gandalf would still be like, hey, there's a problem, let's have a hobbit.
Yeah.
That solves the problem.
And I think Sam is capable of doing it alone.
Yes, because as well, Sam he's a lot smarter in the books than is kind of let on, especially in the animation films. He's really dubbing them.
Yeah.
But he's a lot more, like, you get glimpses of it later on, but earlier on he's a bit more cowardly and stuff in the films, where I feel like he's a bit more switched on. Yeah. Really. So, yeah. And I feel like Merry and Pippin would go with him as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people at this point may argue that no, Sam is only so brave in his journey because he loves Frodo and he's protecting Frodo. But I think that's exactly why he would do it. It would be a for Frodo. Yeah,
it would be for Frodo.
Yeah.
So
we'll take the 3 hobbits now, sneak through the Blacklands and try and make their way to Mount Doom.
I mean, most likely it kind of would end up the same way. They would end up through the Blacklands. They would find Smeagol, but
there's 3 of them now.
There's 3 of them,
and they're not as exhausted.
Not as exhausted, and I don't think they would be as sympathetic.
No,
towards him.
Not.
So
you got to remember at this point, if let's say Helm's Deep is defended. Minas Tirith is defended. Gandalf sends someone to go and bring the hobbits to Gondor. They're fed, they're hydrated, they're rested. They're informed of their mission. Yes. So essentially, I forgot the name of the chapter, but when Eomer, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, Gandalf are all discussing the March of the Blackgate, that becomes a discussion of sending the hobbits through Mordor while the Blackgate march happens.
Because as well, like, obviously, with Gandalf and everyone being there, they would not be going through past Shelob. They would not be getting captured at Cirith Ungol. They would not be doing any of that, because they'd be like, that's a stupid idea.
Yep.
Don't do that. We'll cause big distraction over here. You go over this pathway hill.
Yep.
Whether it's just the hobbits or potentially like a Faramir goes with them until they cross the border into Mordor.
Yeah, and they basically...
Like, this is your path through the hills.
Yeah.
Then it's on you.
They get a lift 90% of the way there as well, almost. Just the journey through Mordor is still pretty far. Yeah. But, they're not going to be exhausted.
Yes.
So when Smeagol does try and get involved, if he still does, they're going to take him out. And when it comes time to get into the edge of Mount Doom, we know hobbits are not easily corrupted. They have very strong will.
especially now that they're doing it for their dead best friend, really.
Yeah.
So
Now, not only that, but none of the three of those hobbits have had the time that Frodo had to be corrupted by the ring.
yes,
So they're pretty fresh. We've seen how long Bilbo went without being corrupted. We see how long Frodo went without being corrupted. These three have had it for a matter of days, probably.
yeah, and even then, I think they could almost be like, because it hasn't been so long. They could always, okay, you have it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
I'll have it for 6 hours. Like, I think that would be a lot more like once they've seen how it affected Frodo and others. I think that'd be a lot more Gandalf being like, okay, look,
Yeah. There's a rota.
yeah, there's a rota. Like, one of you has it for one day, then there's someone else, and you just pass it. So it's a lot. Everyone gets that weight off for a while.
Yeah. So the hobbits, they get there while the distraction at the Black Gate is happening.
Yep.
The ring is destroyed.
Yep.
Everything ends the same.
It does.
Now, obviously, there's a matter of, did anyone fall in the Battle of Minas Tirith? Did anybody fall in the Battle of the Black Gate? I can genuinely see Boromir dying in one of these battles because I can see him sacrificing himself at some point as a kind of redemption arc, similar to how he does in the Fellowship / Two Towers originally. I can see him being like, I've killed a hobbit, I've killed my father.
Yeah, it's almost like that. He's not willing to.
I think
like,
he would give himself up to save Faramir.
Yeah, the whole defense is for trying to make up for it, but then he's still like, I can't live with myself what I did. So yeah, there will be a situation. Say, even if it's like Aragorn's about to get ambushed or Faramir's about to get ambushed, and then he's like, no, this is. He has that moment, but saving, Faramir or Aragorn, like the future of Gondor instead.
It'd likely be Aragorn, I think.
Yeah.
Saving his king.
Yeah.
Sacrificing himself for his king.
And then Faramir goes to rage mode! Turn Super Saiyan!
Yeah. You know, like Aladdin and Elra here.
Yeah.
Like if one of them dies in the strategy battle game, the other one goes berserk. It would be something like that.
So yeah, so then I think that basically ends up as was. Éomer ends up being the king in Rohan.
Yeah, Aragorn supplies lots of resources to help rebuild Rohan, and they remain, as the two kingdoms, remain great allies, and the rest continues the same. The only thing that doesn't happen is Frodo is now dead.
Yep.
Boromir is dead just the same, and Theoden died earlier along with Éowyn. So Faramir has a bit of a sadder ending because he doesn't get married to Éowyn.
Nope.
But yeah, some things change.
Theoden doesn't get his glorious last charge kind of moment. Because I can't remember the exact wording, but like when he charges, they say he looked like. Is it one of the Valar?
No,
or Maya? Or can you? This is what happens when we try and do this without anything in front of us.
I think you're thinking of Fingolfin when he charges more.
No. There's a moment when Theoden's charging. They're like, it's in the book. I can't remember the exact wording. Yeah. But yeah, it's like he doesn't get that moment of being like, I am worthy of my name, of my father's, of being king, which he had always worried about before that moment.
But what we do get instead is we get Éomer leading the charge.
Yes.
And we get a for the king! You know, and that is almost just as epic. You know. Okay.
Yeah.
That's our story.
Okay.
It's funny because there was a lot of differences, but we came to a similar.
Yeah, I think at the I mean, at the end of the day, the end's going to usually be the same. I don't think it was a big enough difference. I say it's a big enough difference. The main character basically dies. It's a pretty big difference, but
what's funny about doing this is that was honestly 100. We didn't discuss this at all. That was 100% off the cuff.
Yeah.
Now I think this is very similar to how Tolkien wrote as well. When you know the characters, and I feel like we know the characters very well, you don't have to write the story. You just
it's a case of
see what the characters would do.
Yeah, you just go, in this situation they would obviously do this.
Yeah.
So then that's your point. Then the next point, and it just goes on from there. Because I think you can tell, like there's a point, like at the beginning we may be a little bit slower getting into it.
Yeah.
And as it goes, it's like, okay, then this, then this, then this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
It was.
I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I was going to. I've been really apprehensive about doing these what if scenarios, but that was fun.
It was.
I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like where we went with the story.
Yep.
And hopefully you guys are up to seeing more of these. Make sure you let us know if you are.
Yes.
If no one says anything, we just won't do it because we're doing these videos for you guys. So.
Yes.
Bye guys.
Bye guys.